Hello, and welcome to the matching and mismatching between the pedagogical design principles of a math game and the actual practice of play. This is a critique done by Idot-Enyin Lewis. Let's look at the purpose of our critique. We are to examine the relations to pedagogical principles within the math game, to observe what takes place during an actual math game as it is a replacement for the regular math lessons and math instruction. We will compare and contrast matches along with the mismatches between the pedagogical principles and actual playing, and it will give us an overview of the benefits as well as the limitations that are within gaming used for teaching math concepts. Let's look at the participants that were observed throughout the study. So, in this article, 48 to 10-year-olds were being looked at. They played regularly math games instead of having math lessons for 9 weeks. So this replaced the regular math instruction that they were normally to have. The there were 6 school classes in Sweden and one in the USA that were looked at for this study. Now let's look at the players that were being observed when playing the math games and the roles that they played in the math games. This observation took about 2 to 3 months. The study took place during the spring of 2009, and the materials were all from 2 out of the Swedish classes that were being observed in the study. There was training allowed between the players, the agents, and the computer for a better chance of solving the addition and subtraction puzzles, and this training also led to a higher percentage for the players to be able to win the game if winning was the objective of the game. Now here's an overview of our game. It was based on a metaphor for arithmetic, and when I say arithmetic, we were looking at the addition and the subtraction of the game. The numbers are graphical objects, and the arithmetic operations were the animated objects. The colored squares were grouped into boxes which can be packed as well as unpacked in order to model the composition as well as the decomposition of the sets. There were several different two-player board games, so it gave a variety of sets to look at and observe. The game allowed 3 kinds of players. One was the student, one was the computer player, and the other was the student's agent. All had different roles towards the game. The game also had competitive as well as collaborative versions, so they were able to look at the competitive aspects of the game as well as how well they were to communicate with each other during the game. Above shows an image of a model of the game. The top one shows the addition model. In this example, it shows how the game was set up and how the players went back and forth in solving the addition model of the game. Below is just a subtraction version of the game as well, where the students were able to solve a problem modeling it on the bottom of the screen of the game. Now, aside from the actual visualization of the game, were the dialogue boxes. The dialogue boxes allowed collaboration between the players. There were 2 types of dialogue boxes that exhibited the collaboration of the game. The top box above here shows the agent questioning a result from the player. Um, and the player asks, "Well, why was that played? It was a well played," and it gives them some selection choices to choose from of response to the question. The bottom box shows the questioning of the selected choice of a player. So the dialogue boxes allow for effective communication and allows for a lot more thought provoking towards the choices that the players select when going through the actual game. Here are some challenges that were recognized within the study. It was observed that within the study that students must be ensured that they are observing the screens. A lot of attention, of course, was in the objective of winning the game and solving the puzzles. positive and negative outcomes were difficult to determine because it was based on a student's overall experience. Meaningful dialogue led to understanding of the questions within the game. So, if as more of the dialogue progressed, it led for students to ponder more about the decisions they were making, and the reasons behind the decisions that they made in the game. There was too much focus towards winning the game, aside from understanding the objective of the game for learning. Normally, a student's tendency of a game is to win the game, and not too much of the focus is placed on the why behind the game. So from this study, here were our results. Communication, collaboration between the players allows for helpful dialogue and making decisions. Meaningful reflection is also needed as it assists with the learning process. It bridges the connection between the choices made within the game. More misinterpretation between game practices occurs than the correct interpretation, and that there is difficulty in designing a game that correlates with the developer's intentions. Throughout the study, some of the players in the game decide to make decisions to see if it followed the design of the actual game. So, in conclusion, here are the final remarks that we have made from the study. It would be effective if a rubric or a grading or a form of grading system would be in place. A system of such invaluable could prove to be invaluable in helping assist best collaboration practices. The expectations for collaboration soon became a norm in playing the game, so as students realized that they were to collaborate with the other players, they were expected and they were thinking more about the remarks that they would make that would influence their decisions. The study could prove to be useful towards gamification techniques to be integrated within other educational practices. So this also helped with other games that could be used in the future. As the game progresses with communication and questioning, critical thinking became more evident, and you could see that more thought-provoking questions and more thoughtful responses came within the questions, which leads to a rich, more engaging instruction for the game. So this concludes my critique of the research, and I hope you enjoyed it.